Okay, Youth Worker Nation, we're here on Youth Worker on Fire with the entire baseball team. In fact, you guys play every position. You're the only two on the team. Is that right?
That's right.
And so, exactly. So give your names, your position, and how you ended up getting here.
All right. Hi, I'm Bryson Tuttle. I am originally a second baseman. I used to play third base, and I got to Lake-Sumter State College because Lake-Sumter State College was my last showcase. And I told myself I'm not going to play baseball anymore if I don't get picked up at this last showcase. Dad dragged me out of bed and went to this showcase, and before you know it, Coach was offering me a spot on the team.
Hi, I'm Prather. I'm a shortstop or second baseman. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida as well. I got here because my senior year of high school, in the fall, we actually played Lake-Sumter. A kid from my high school who was a year older than me was on Lake-Sumter, and he told me that if I hit good, the coach is going to offer me. And I remember thinking, like, dude, what the heck? Like, nah, I'm going to be super nervous. I'm not going to hit good. And Lake-Sumter, they threw their best pitcher, and I was so nervous. And the first pitch, I hit a double. So I got to second base, and my coach, my high school coach, just looked at me and started clapping. I was like, all right, well, I guess this is the spot. So this is where I came.
Tell me now, get me up to date where your family, your life is.
Live in Jacksonville, Florida. I went to Green Cove Junior High School. I think that's when I really fell in love with the game of baseball, because that was when I actually had to, I wouldn't say try to make a team, but you didn't know if you were going to be on the team or not, because Little League, everyone gets on the team. So junior high was fun. You get to try out. You get your own locker room, and all that was really cool. And that's when I really started to fall in love with the game of baseball. And then I went up to Fleming Island High School. My brother, I have a 23-year-old brother, and he went through high school before me, obviously. He was a star shortstop, went to St. John's River College. I feel like I had to live up to him, so that even boosted up my baseball game even more. And then after high school got me here, I have two wonderful parents. My mom works at the front offices for Hallmark, the card store in Jacksonville. Yes, sir. And then my dad works for the naval base, the Navy Exchange in Jacksonville as well, NAS Jax. And he's actually getting ready to retire this year. So he'll be able to come visit me a lot more. We'll get a lot more time together, and it's going to be awesome.
All right, so I started playing baseball when I was 3. That was when I got to play on my first team. I had a cousin who was older than me by about 6 years, and he was more like my brother. He lived with my grandmother. When he would play, I remember just the first memories I have were at a baseball field watching him play. So when I finally got to play, I was obsessed with it. You couldn't get me off the field. A lot like Bryson, when I got to middle school, you got to try out for a team, and once you make the team, you're walking through the hallways wearing your middle school baseball shirt, and you think you're a cool kid on campus. So I remember that being a really cool experience. I went to Providence, which is in Jacksonville. I actually went to Providence in 8th grade, and when I got there, I didn't know how good of a baseball school they were. I just knew, okay, they had a baseball team I wanted to play. When I got there, my 8th grade year, that year they ended up winning the state championship in the baseball, so I was like, okay, maybe we can do it again. And my sophomore year, I got to be lucky enough to be on a state championship winning team. My mom and my dad are divorced. My mom is a police officer in St. Johns County. They got divorced when I was 2 or 3, so that wasn't very tough for me growing up just because I never knew them being married. I think it would have been a lot tougher if I was older and they got divorced, because I would have remembered them having a relationship. So I think them getting divorced when I was really young actually helped me, because when I'm young, it's like, oh, sweet, 2 Christmases. That's what a kid thinks about. So my dad sells stuff to the government, like furniture, like office stuff, to government buildings. And my stepmom actually manages a Mimi's Cafe in Jacksonville. I have 2 younger sisters. My sister, Sophia, is 7. My sister Jesslyn actually was born the day after my 13th birthday. That's pretty cool. And then I have a brother who was just born in June, so he's only a few months old. Yeah, so it's pretty cool having younger siblings. So
what if there was no sports, no baseball? Who would you be?
Good. That's a tough question, because I've been around baseball my whole life. I was blessed enough for my parents to support me through whatever I do. Honestly, I haven't really worked a real job before. I've mowed lawns, I've raked leaves, I've walked dogs, I've dog sat, babysat, but I've never actually gotten a job. I've been lucky enough for them to supply for me for everything that I do. So if I didn't play sports, I would have a lot of free time, that's for sure. I don't know. I'd probably be a waiter, because I really love working with people. So that's probably where I'd be at. So I get to meet new people every day, meet new friends.
I want to push your imagination limit. You can't fail. And it doesn't matter how big, how wide you go. What's your biggest dream that would be beyond sports? Or if that didn't exist? Because someday it won't. Maybe you're going to be 80. If there's no failure, is waiting really what you would do, or is there something bigger?
Oh, there's definitely got to be something bigger. It's hard to think, because there's so many things you could do if you can't fail. It's just unreal. I guess that's really just part of life, is failure, including baseball. You can't really win all the time.
Well, my senior year, I got lucky enough to get on the homecoming court. The seniors who were on the homecoming court had to give a speech in front of the whole school. I remember sitting, and we had a big chapel, and the entire school was there. I mean, lower school, middle school, upper school. I remember everyone sitting next to me, and they're all super nervous and like freaking out. And I was so excited. Like, I loved it. Like, I was so happy to be able to talk in front of everyone and share my story. And I think that would probably be it. That was when I really got an itch to speak in front of people, and I really loved it. Even though I didn't have any experience in it, I seemed to be really comfortable, and I seemed to be really good at it. So I think that if baseball wasn't around, it'd be something where I'm talking in front of a lot of people, whether it's motivational speaking or even a pastor. Like, I don't know necessarily, but like my major is communications or public speaking. If I didn't have sports or baseball or anything, definitely something where I'm talking in front of a lot of people. Like, I love that.
Loving what you do is important. Waiting tables makes you happy. That's a great career. I'm serious about that. Because if you're not content with life, it doesn't matter what you do. You know, in both of your positions, both of you got great communication skills, I think. We need speakers that have been somewhere, done something, and you guys have already done more. You know, I've talked about that small percentage. Your college baseball, doesn't matter how many colleges there are, people relate more with your worst moment than they do with your best moment.
The worst moment in my life. My dad had a really good friend who had a son, and my older brother was his son, so they were really good friends through high school. And this guy was almost like my uncle. His son was like almost like another big brother to me. He was an alcoholic. He would always come around the house. We would feed him dinner because he was struggling most of the time. He ended up getting out of alcohol, like getting on a different type of medication. He would come watch me play baseball. It was awesome seeing him be able to come watch me. I could look out and see him there sober and happy. I had one tournament when I was 13 years old, and he was working on the grounds crew. He was working on the grounds crew, said, "Yeah, I'll stay and watch your game." I said, "Great. Hopefully I can hit a double for you." Step up to bat, first at bat, hit a double. And then that night, we woke up the next morning, and we got a call that he overdosed on his medication and he passed. It was just awesome to have him there for his last at-bat to see was one of my doubles.
My toughest moment was probably my 7th grade year. Not probably, it definitely was. We had a kid come to school. His name was Jordan Fletcher. He came my 6th grade year. I was the shortest kid in class, and in 6th grade he was 5'10", so he was the tallest kid in class. And so we immediately had a bond. Like, he was the tallest kid, I was the shortest kid. And I mean, I remember he would bring his iPod back when they had you scroll it, you know what I'm talking about, the old iPods, and he had one of those, and we would always watch movies on it. We were inseparable. He came back for his 7th grade year. He struggled with really bad depression. May 22nd of my 7th grade year, on the day before that, May 21st, me and him got into a really bad argument in school. I don't even remember what it was about, but I just remember me and him got into an argument. The week before that, he had been talking about how he was going to kill himself, and I didn't believe him, and that he was struggling, and I didn't do anything about it. I was really his only friend. Like, I was really close to him, and we got into that fight, and the next day I wasn't at school. So May 22nd, I wasn't at school, and when I got back on May 23rd, I walked into school, and everyone was crying, and when I asked why, they told me that Jordan had killed himself. 4 years, up until my sophomore year of high school, I was blaming myself because I believed that if I would have just been there, if we would have not argued, if I would have just swallowed my pride and apologized, done whatever, maybe he'd still be here. It took me until I got to high school baseball coach. I never even told him about it. He would just talk to me all the time, and I was still really depressed and really upset about it. It took 4 years for me to get out of that, and it took my coach to finally bring it out of me. That was definitely the toughest time of my life.
The big deal is we forget that middle schoolers are people too. We go through real problems, and it's a real world. Tell me your best moment in life ever, and this could be baseball, it could be anything.
Best moment in life ever, but I think my best moment that I will always remember forever is my very first home run. I remember I was 12 years old, still on the little field, haven't hit a home run yet, probably was the only one on the team who hasn't hit a home run yet. And Nana came in town for that game too. She'd say every game, "Hey, good luck. I hope you hit a home run today." And I said, "All right, thanks, Nana. Yeah, like that's gonna happen." I remember the count. It was 3-1. Coach always says that's a hitter's count, but I was 12 years old. I didn't even know what that was. That ball looked like a beach ball coming in, and I hit it. I started sprinting so fast around first base, looked up, and I saw the umpire doing the round him. I was like looking around like, that was me who hit it? And then I touched second base and looked up, and I saw Nana in the stands just absolutely going crazy. It was something I'll remember forever.
Best moment of my life, this moment that I'm in right now. I was lucky enough to play really well last season. I got to play in the All-Star game, and I got a couple hits in it. And colleges are talking to me and calling me, and I'm getting offers. And I'm not the biggest guy. I'm only about 5'7". I got to where I am today because not because of measurables. Baseball is a game of, oh, he's 6'2", 200 pounds, so we're going to offer him just because of his looks. I like the fact that nobody can tell me that I got where I am based on measurables. People have to look at me and say, okay, he got where he is because maybe he's actually good. I'm very grateful right now, and it's a very humbling experience right now, and I just feel really blessed to be able to go through this, especially with these teammates. Like, I love this team. This is a fun team to be on, and so to be able to go through it with these guys is definitely a good experience and definitely a fun thing to do.
You've already made the choice. The choice is, I'm going to be at baseball practice, right? Or I'm going to be at weightlifting. I mean, this is 8 o'clock in the morning, and you guys have already had an hour of weightlifting at 6 a.m. What do you do on the weekends?
To be honest, I look forward to the weekends every single week. Baseball and school balancing is pretty tough. It's a lot of work. I wish a lot of people could experience it. Not everyone can. Not only is there homework, that's the homework you have to do after baseball practice. That's homework you have to do after you hit in the cage, after practice, if you want to keep playing the game. So the weekends, if I get all my homework done, I really love to go out on Silver Lake right behind our baseball field and fish. I love to just put my feet in the water, hang out. Fish or no fish, I just don't mind. It's awesome. And then after I fish, come home and just lay in bed. Just to lay in bed and think about the next week coming up, thinking about what I'm going to do. You really don't get any free time, but if you can fit that free time in, it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a lot like Bryson on the other than the fishing. I hate fishing. I'm way too impatient. On the weekends, though, I'm definitely like, when Sunday ends, I'm looking forward to Friday. Like, I don't have class on Wednesday. I mean, I've been here for like 12 years, so no, this is my third year. So I'm only taking 4 classes right now, and I don't have class on Wednesday, so I don't have too tough a schedule, and it's still tough. I mean, people say like, oh, student athletes, they get their college paid for. It's like, nope, we pay for it. It's just, you don't see it. So that's definitely a big thing. But on the weekends, I'm a big Netflix guy. I love The Office. So I sit and watch that all day. I love the beach. I live in Jacksonville, and I live a mile and a half from the beach. So when I'm home, I'm at the beach as much as possible. And I definitely love working out. Like, I'm obsessed with it. So if I'm not doing that, I'm at the gym, and it's definitely fun. So on the weekends, I'm definitely doing something if it's not sleeping.
Well, rest and sleep are important. Those weekends are important because everybody's got to have R&R. Tell me about FCA.
I got involved in FCA in junior high, actually. My coach said, hey, guys, we'll have a Fellowship of Christian Athletes meeting before school on Fridays. I wasn't too sure about it. I mean, my parents took me to church and everything. That was awesome. I kind of got to understand what the whole Jesus Christ was and how he's able to help your life in such a big way. And then Fellowship of Christian Athletes brought me in with other athletes like the football team. And as a baseball team, we didn't like the football team that much. Everyone could come in and talk about the same thing. You wouldn't really look at anyone any differently because we all had the same belief. It was Friday morning. People could just sit there, say what was on their mind. No one would judge you, and you could get things off your chest in FCA, and that's what you can do in college too. Coach always says, is there anything you want me to pray for? And people will say stuff that you wouldn't expect them to say anywhere else. And when they say it in FCA, you really think to yourself, wow, my life is awesome. I hope your life gets better. I will pray for you, and we just get stronger together.
I got introduced to FCA my sophomore year of high school. That was one of the things that helped me out with getting over Jordan, and that was definitely a big thing for me. I grew up in church. I went to a Baptist church, and then my high school was non-denominational. And if you believe in Jesus, it doesn't matter if you're a Catholic, Baptist, Presbyterian. It doesn't matter. If you believe Jesus died for you, then that's all that really matters. Which I loved about it. I got into FCA when I was 15, and then here, especially this year, I started falling off. When you get to college, you start to do things that you think the other kids think are cool, and you start to lose yourself, and you do what other people want. And I started falling off my path when Coach Billings, the first time he said, all right, guys, we're having an FCA meeting. I remember the first time I was like, no, I don't want to go. Like, I don't want to go at all. And I didn't. I remember that whole week, I just felt like a tug. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? Like, this isn't you. And the next week I went, and it was just super refreshing. I felt so much. It even showed like in my game, like just once I started falling off, like beginning of the fall, I played terrible. I played so bad. And as soon as I started just saying, all right, God, do what you want. You want me to go? I'll go. I'll do what you want me to do. And I'm starting to play really well again. And it's just rewarding. It's not all about that. I see it in other aspects of my life as well, with my family, even with my school. When you put God first, especially in SCA, like Bryson said, everyone comes together for one thing. When you put God first in everything, and you don't say, okay, if I put God first, maybe he'll reward me with this. No, you say, okay, I'll put God first. Whatever happens, happens, and he will reward you with the stuff that you want. So I think it's a really good experience, and I love FCA, and I love going every week. And normally I'd be like, sweet, don't have to go. And I was like, no, like I want to go, like I want to do it, I love it. So I think it's a very good experience, and I'll continue to do it.
As a result of just being with you guys on Friday, getting to speak to you, that's an honor for me. That's a big deal. But tell me what Chapel does for you. I mean, number one, this is crazy. It's a state college. Tell me how it helps I'm looking for other chaplains. They might not know that it's even making a difference. Tell me how it's making a difference.
I mean, it's been really cool having you be able to come and talk on Fridays before a Friday practice, because everyone's happy it's a Friday, and then you come and it gets us even more engaged. You talk a lot about like the mountain climbing and the people climbing mountains, and I've never climbed a mountain. I think that your life really is climbing a mountain the whole entire way, because no matter what happens, there's going to be a bump in the road. As long as you keep on climbing, you'll keep getting higher and higher, and that's what it does to me, especially dealing with God. I know that he's there for me, and if I'm there for him, he will reward me. It's awesome hearing you talk about that, because it keeps pounding on, don't get away from yourself, stay within yourself, stay humble, and keep climbing, because life's not over and it never will be.
When you talk about the mountains, like there's never a time when you're going straight. There's never a time when everything's going perfect all the time, nothing's going bad at all. There's always you're always either going uphill, or sometimes you're coasting because something's going really well, so you're going downhill, and that's just a downhill in a good way, not downhill in a bad way. Like downhill is in you're just coasting, it's something good, but as soon as you get to that bottom, you'll come right back up, and you're always going through something. And also you always say we're always winners. Like even the people who aren't necessarily religious, you can relate to, because you talk about you guys are, or we are, the minority when it comes to college. We're getting the opportunity to go to college to play the game that we love. You really show us that, oh, maybe he's right. Like maybe we need to just enjoy the ride. Like maybe some people that, okay, we might not have had a good year. Like if you're not playing well, it's like, oh, like this sucks. Like I hate it. But in reality, your worst year, if you hit 100, or if you have a 10.5 ERA, you're still playing college baseball. You're still blessed to be able to do what you love. If you enjoy it and you love it and you just have fun with it, the good stats will come. The excitement for the game will come. You'll feel like you're playing Little League baseball again. And so it's definitely a good, refreshing, just like every Friday, like especially it's the end of the week. We've gone through the whole week. It's like, oh, there's no more games. Like, oh, this is kind of boring. I don't want to practice. And then it's, all right, guys, wear your shorts and T-shirts to practice. Doug's going to talk, and you just really get us to, all right, baseball's fun again. Like we love it. So it's definitely a good thing to have.
That's great, and thanks. I appreciate you telling me that, because I need to hear that feedback too, and I never ask, but this is a great opportunity here, so thanks. And that'll help some other people. What's that one thing you would tell professors, teachers, if you could have ever told them to change something, what would that one thing be that would really engage and ignite you?
Professors, it's a little tougher, because they have so many students come through their class and auditorium or whatever. For college professors, I would say try to get engaged with your students as much as possible and make the class a little more fun. Instead of strictly turn in this assignment, you could do like extra credit projects, because I've learned the most from extra credit projects, because it's something that I wanted to do to earn the extra grade. And then also you get extra points for doing it, but you're still learning at the same time. So that's awesome. It's tough for college, because I know there's not a lot of extra credit opportunities there. But high school, I would say it's a lot easier. Get engaged with your students. I remember my anatomy teacher in high school. His name was Mr. Sauer. Me and him became best friends. Instead of going to the lunchroom, I would go to his class and eat. That was the class that I excelled in. And I thought I was going to do awful at anatomy, remembering all the bones and everything, but he made it fun. A lot of his class was get up, move around, go to this station, figure out what you're learning about. And that was just awesome. So high school teachers, really get engaged and build a relationship with your students, because it's a lot easier. But college, it's a little tougher, but just try to get a little more engaged with your students.
Be outgoing with your students. Know who your students are. I have a humanities class. It's boring. I'm doing really well in it. It's not that it's tough. It's just every day going there, it's like, oh my goodness, like I'm about to fall asleep. I mean, in that class you can easily make it fun. So I think that having some aspects of fun in the class might not be a bad thing. It's just like with work. It's just like with anything. Like I have severe ADHD. I mean, and I didn't find out till I was 18. When it comes to that, I'm very bad at sitting still. So when a teacher is just, I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I start thinking about anything other than what I'm supposed to be thinking about. I think that a lot of what he said, just adding stuff to it, just adding presentations, adding extra credit, anything. And in the classroom, don't always lecture. Don't have like, all right, Tuesday's lecture, Thursday we're having a quiz, and then we're reviewing it, and that's every single class period. Every single day. Like mix it up. Have different things to do. Like maybe one day watch an educational video, or change it up a little bit. High school, it's a little bit easier, like what he said. I think that teachers if they love their job. Like, you can tell the teachers that love teaching, and then you can tell the teachers that are doing it for a paycheck. And the teachers that are doing it for a paycheck are the teachers that maybe kids don't do as well in. I remember my junior year, I had chemistry with this teacher, Mr. Starkweather. You could tell he loved the job. He loved teaching, and I was terrible at chemistry. I had to go to summer school for it. I was terrible at chemistry, and the only reason I got a D is because he would help me all the time. And in summer school, I remember he was a teacher in summer school, and he was just there with me. Like, he wanted me to do well, and that made me want to do well. And he backed me up like my dad did, and you could tell that he really loved his job and he really loved doing what he was doing, even though he was a really tough teacher and a lot of people did really bad in his class. But that was because he took it seriously and he wanted people to actually do well in it, and that made us want to do well in it. So I think that's a big thing, is the love for what you do.
Okay, Youth Worker Nation, if you're a professor, you're a teacher, I mean, you heard it from the students. Bottom line, that's who you're teaching. Mrs. Tice was my chemistry teacher in high school. I mean, why would I remember that? She was that teacher, I mean, I had some other teachers, Mr. Litwin, everybody wanted to be in that class. So, okay, guys, listen, thanks. Worker Nation. Hoops, hoop.